So I've got Daniel from BlackSheep Capital, who was one of our vocal investors in the room, which is great. And we always say to startups that you get rewarded for a really good pitch with really hard questions. So do you agree with that statement, first of all? Or in terms of question time, what are you actually trying to get out of the startup in terms of drilling down a bit further?
Well, look, I think it's as much about the startup as the audience that's there. Like, there's going to be a percentage of startups, of real investors, of corporates, like a dichotomy of people who want to be part of the industry. And the key is that a lot of people don't think about it from an investor standpoint like we do. And the cold, hard reality is these guys are going to get asked those questions sooner or later. In a way, you're doing them a favour because you're putting them on the spot. Each pitch, they should be getting better. I think those guys, there's some that have a lot to learn. There's some great business opportunities. I think there's some tweaking around the corners that can be done. But I think it's important they chose to come and pitch in front of these people. It's no secret Steve's fairly straight up and down. And as long as you're being constructive and asking real questions that have a real impact on people's decisions, I think it's fair enough, fair game. You want to speak, you want money, you want it from that arena, you're going to get asked questions.
So in terms of advice to other startups who are asking for capital, whether it's at an event like this or directly to yourself, what are some top tips that you would hand on to anybody who's looking to raise some capital?
I mean, the first step is to be realistic. Don't raise to a valuation, raise to how much money you need. I think that's a first clear step. We had some today that had fairly clear ideas of what they needed the money for, and then based their valuations around market size and how much of that market they can capture. We had somebody just kind of felt like they picked a number, and I've been told that before. I said, well, why did you pick that number? Well, I had to pick one, didn't I? From an investor standpoint, you start to ask questions, you can ask for a high amount of money, but you have to be able to tell me I need it to do these things, and then that's going to get me to either the next raise, to an exit. If you can clearly articulate that, you've got me. You've got me interested at the very least. But as you've alluded, you need a passion in the founder. You need someone who's knowledgeable. And a pitch can almost be translated for me into how they may react in a corporate environment. That pitch could almost be turned into a pitch for a paid pilot, for a customer acquisition. If you can't do it there, how are you going to do it in front of a group of people where you're really sweating because this could be the make or break, in terms of revenue for your startup?
Just give me some thoughts around asking for too little, and then obviously does it highlight to you that they're not sure what they're going to do with it?
Potentially, it could be a number of things, there's a number of things that impact that. Your current cap table, if you're already too heavy, people think, well, you need to cut that back so you've got enough room for the next round. I think there's a lot of too much is placed on the lean startup effect. Last time I checked, getting clients is better than being lean. So obviously be wary of it and wary of how that's going to affect how much you raise, but nothing left than getting worse than getting left short. We've seen startups that have got talked into taking less. We've been cut out of rounds because someone brilliantly said, well, we're going to take the 250 because you don't need the 500 when the 500 was on the table. And I'm not going to say statistically because I don't know the stats, but 500,000 gets you a lot further than 250. Potentially quicker, potentially with a lot less stress.
Excellent. That's all my questions. Thank you.